Who do you want to see as 47th President of the United States? The worst part of this is I can't even think of someone to name as a joke. When satire can't beat reality. Onion articles lately have been too believable. Actual Onion headline: Supreme Court votes 5-4 to require special licenses for women to drive. Only reason this is obviously fake is because it's not 6-3. It's 6-3, but Roberts feels uncomfortable, so he writes a concurring opinion but still votes with his party. Just the fact that you say that he votes with his party shows how screwed up things are. Judges are supposed to be non-partisan and vote on the law, not what others want. But yeah, we know that's not how it's working anymore. Maybe a weed person instead of a coke person? Maybe a weed person instead of a koch person. Someone who isn't a senile old man. Yep, came here to say someone under 55. I want someone around 45. An adult in their prime who is personally invested in the outcome of their political actions because they're still going to be around in 10 years. Okay, you twisted my arm, I'll do it. I'm about to turn 44. That is my only qualification. The saddest part is that, despite being completely unqualified, a random 45-year-old would probably not even be as bad as some real presidents we've had. I occasionally think that way. But then I remember the quote from Carlin: think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that. You have a good chance to get someone really ducking dumb. Really dumb is still better than malicious TBF. Just someone that isn't a ducking joke. Haven't we had enough of that? I don't think qualified people are allowed to run. The major problem, one of the major problems, for there are several, one of the many major problems with governing people is that of whom you get to do it, or rather of who manages to get people to let them do it to them. To summarize, it is a well-known fact, that those people who most want to rule people are, ipso facto, those least suited to do it. To summarize the summary, anyone who is capable of getting themselves made president should on no account be allowed to do the job. Douglas Adams. I often think about that scene in Gladiator where Marcus Aurelius is offering the seat of emperor to Maximus, who declines the offer because he does not want to lead. Marcus Aurelius then responds, that is why it must be you. After spending years as a successful restaurateur and television personality, Guy Fieri decided to run for president in 2020. His platform was simple: make America delicious again. Fieri campaigned tirelessly, crisscrossing the country in his signature convertible, spreading his message of good food and good times. It worked. Fieri won the election in a landslide, becoming the 47th President of the United States. He immediately set to work making his vision of Flavortown a reality. One of his first actions was to rename the country Flavortown, in honor of its new leader. Under President Fieri, Flavortown has flourished. The economy is booming, thanks to Fieri's policies of supporting small businesses and encouraging entrepreneurship. The food is, of course, incredible, with Flavortown becoming a global destination for culinary tourism. And the people are happy, living their lives in a flavor-filled utopia. Sure, there are some dissenting voices. Some people miss the old days of America, and Flavortown can be a little overwhelming for newcomers. But for the most part, everyone seems to be enjoying the ride. So buckle up, because it's going to be a delicious ride. Thanks, President Fieri. I don't care for his actual restaurants, but Guy Fieri is a good person who actually cares about people. I'd be okay as a citizen of Flavortown. His support for firefighters is incredible. Considering all the flames on his shirts, I'm a little surprised he's on their side. He's just trying to ensure some job security for them. Can't lose your job as a firefighter when there's a serial arsonist on the loose. Someone that's not a ducking 100 years old. Katie Porter. Congresswoman Katie Porter. Hands down. Extremely competent. I've seen two names so far after scrolling comments for a while. Both have been Katie Porter. The least corruptible individual we can find. I think this is the catch-22 of politics. Someone who would be worthy of holding a position of that kind of power would never be able to achieve it because they aren't corrupt enough. Reminds me of something Douglas Adams pointed out in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It is a well-known fact that those people who must want to rule people are, ipso facto, those least suited to do it. Anyone who is capable of getting themselves made president should on no account be allowed to do the job. That's taken from Plato's Republic, though reworded. Plato's belief is that the only good ruler is one who rules out of some sort of compulsion, and the ideal method would be to have people compete to not have to rule, and the one who wants it the least ends up ruling. John Fetterman's gearing up for a presidential run, and I'm all for it. Probably won't be in 2024, though. He has his Senate run this year and I wish I was a Pennsylvania to vote for him. You're right, he won't be ready in 2024, but he has my full support when he's ready. I don't like the idea of putting full faith in a single politician, I just wish there was more with the same integrity as him. Didn't stop Obama. Obama still had 4 years between election to the Senate and president, and even that was insanely short. Fetterman would have 2 years and would be challenging an incumbent. Not gonna see him until at least 2028. I'm speaking as a Pittsburgh native turned coastal elite and huge supporter of John Fetterman, so take this with a grain of salt. 1. I would be surprised if Fetterman doesn't win in November. Dr. Oz is not a good candidate, and Fetterman is working hard to connect with the backwoods conservative voter who typically feels left out of the conversation. I'm thinking about Obama-Trump voters who Hillary Clinton did such a deplorable job with. 2. I think there's a good chance that Fetterman will crush Dr. Oz, and cause a lot of media and political machine spotlight on the race and Fetterman's victory. Right now, Democrats are struggling with messaging to reach voters who don't look like me. A successful Fetterman campaign could provide a blueprint for a much more compelling message than "we're not doing a very good job, but at least things aren't as on fire." 3. I'm hoping, probably stupidly, that Harris and Biden have the good sense to gracefully step down at the end of this term. Biden's approval rating is embarrassing. Harris has done a terrible job marketing herself as a unifying leader. An honestly fought 2024 Democratic presidential primary would be a good thing for the Democratic Party and the nation. All of which is to say, I think there's a path for Fetterman, and I'm hoping to see big things from him. If the Dems don't field a good candidate, Biden definitely won't step down, and unfortunately I feel like Kamala Harris definitely won't step down. My dog. Hess a good boy, I swear. Here is his official advertisement. Hess promoting my sister's college BC, she goes to U of A. Hess already prepping his wardrobe for the election. These answers give me no hope for the future. Most of the answers are either jokes, or they're just naming off qualities they think would make a good president. It's Reddit, don't take this place as any sort of actual real-world indication. When I was younger I thought this was such an incredible place for deep thought and discussion. Now I just think most people on here are as dumb as I am. Someone under the age of 65. I'm a boomer and even I think it's stupid that we keep choosing candidates that are in their 80s. TBH, we really need an age limit to most powerful government jobs. The fact that the Supreme Court justices basically stay until they die is horrifying still. I actually had this conversation just the other day. I see some good suggestions here like John Fetterman and Jon Stewart. Lamau I wish, but if we're thinking realistically, who would win a nomination? For Republicans, it's looking more and more likely by the day that Ron DeSantis will be the nominee for 2024. He's a good choice for them, and a dangerous choice for Democrats. He's sneaky as all duck, and he's smart, which is a combo Democrats haven't had to face in a long time. Which means Democrats are going to have to really rally behind someone with broad appeal to both nationwide voters and the party brass. Which is why, unfortunately, it probably won't be Fetterman. Jon Stewart would be 2016 Bernie 2.0 as far as willing delegates, even though the voters would love him. Katie Porter doesn't have enough appeal to middle America centrists, and she's still a newcomer. I think the best Democrat for this role will be Gretchen Whitmer. DNC chair? Swing state governor? Midwest support? Middle class roots? Moderate platform centered around infrastructure? Not 85 years old? Not to mention, she'd be potentially the first female president, which, believe me, has support from centrists. She has the makings of a very, very competitive candidate and maybe one of the few Democrats with a real chance at giving DeSantis a run for his money. Someone who doesn't come from a political family dynasty. Can we have a leap presidency, like just have nobody for a bit? Maybe we should just work on ourselves before we get into a relationship with another stupid president. Update: yes, this is sarcasm, ha-has are welcomed, thanks for the votes and awards. Make the president a dog. Doggo can still attend state functions and diplomatic meetings. No one can blame Doggo for a problem without sounding ridiculous. Doggo cannot launch nuclear weapons. Does not understand. People curious on what Doggo did this week always receive pleasant news. Doggo loves all Americans. Breaking news: Doggo just took a dump on Queen Elizabeth's throne. Is this a declaration of war? Queen Elizabeth loves dogs, so probably not.